such a delight to come your way this moment with the Role Model Dialogue exclusively on Truth TV. My name is Samuel Ajiman Prempe, and I bring to you the show that presents distinguished African personalities whose contributions in the country, on the continent, and beyond are worthy of emulation. So you have the remarkable pleasure from the comfort of your location to engage persons who, as it were, can serve as mentors and role models to your life and business. On the show today, we have a personality who has broken through the trajectory of vocational and technical education. I'll be telling you more about my guest, who is in the person of Mr. Emmanuel Awumee. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Same here. Same here.
Let me just go straight to relevant and recent issues on COVID. Let's touch on that, then we'll delve into your person, your business, your life in general. How has business been for you in this era of COVID?
Yes, I think the COVID really came with both the positive and the negatives to personal lives and businesses. Now, if you have the entrepreneurial eye, you want to see the positives out of it. And if you don't have the entrepreneurial eye, you might think it came with just the negatives. Now, when it came up, what I had to do was to quickly run into research. First, trying to understand the consumer behavioral pattern that has emanated as a result of the COVID-19. Now, because of the COVID-19, most consumers started behaving differently from the way they used to. So the behavioral pattern of the consumer need to be understood. Okay, so if you're a business.
For the purpose of my viewers and for them to appreciate you do well, yeah, just let them know a little bit about who Mr. Awumee is and what Sesil Consult does.
Yes, okay, good. Mr. Awumee is the lead facilitator for Sesil Entrepreneurial Coffee Session and the CEO of Sesil Ventures. Now, Sesil Ventures is a car care consultancy industry company that focuses on car care maintenance aspect. Now, the car care maintenance aspect specializes, that we do specializes in the interior and exterior of cars. Now, the automobile is made up such that you have three major maintenance aspects to get it well done or set up on the road. So you want to look at the mechanical maintenance, you look at the interior detailing maintenance and the exterior maintenance. And so my department or my company focuses on the interior and exterior maintenance of cars. And so that is the area we work on. And so you might want to call it a car wash or a car detailing company. Okay, in our case, we combine all the aspects of car care maintenance into one aspect called the detailing. So you do the car wash, you have the detailing aspect, you have the reconditioning aspect, and you have the total reconditioning of the vehicle.
So for a vehicle company that dominantly you do more, let me say, decor than car washing.
Exactly.
Even for instance, the lockdown when everybody was grounded, less cars were in operation. How did business become for you?
It became a bit challenged because you realize that people were scared of getting infected with a virus. And so here is the case, you have my staff having to be working in the interior of the cars of customers. And so the fear factor came up. What if I bring my car and your staff end up infecting me by working in my car? So I'll not be able to bring my car for you to touch. All right, so it became a challenge where we lost virtually almost all our customers, all right, because of the fear factor. So immediately what I had to do was to immediately try to understand the environment, the perspective of which the COVID-19 was going to affect mankind. And so my research went into identifying the major cause of the COVID-19 effect on us, which is fear. Fear of being infected. So what I needed to do was to restore or eliminate that fear factor by getting customers, giving them confidence to the fact that when they come to my premises, they will not be infected.
So on a typical day before COVID, business like?
Business was good. Business was booming normally. until the COVID came up. And obviously...
What would it mean for you on a typical day in terms of customer inflows, cars coming in? How was the frequency like?
Frequency was normal. So for instance, in a typical week, the weekdays are a bit slow, but weekends are quite very active because people have the time to bring their cars for us to work on. And so what I did was to try to use the COVID-19 protocols, apply them very effectively on the ground to reassure customers that by coming to my business premises, at least we can assure ourselves that we applying all the protocols to ensure we don't get infected, such that when they come to us, they will not be infected. So I had to put down some of the measures in one, disinfecting every car before we even work on it. If you come in to just wash your car, for instance, we have to disinfect it before we even start working. So that went a long way to reassure customers that at least by coming to our business premises, they wouldn't get infected. And so that was one of the key major approach, new business model that we put in place to be able to avert a complete shutdown of our business. I
see. Knowing you in this COVID times, I've noticed you've been consistent on wearing your black durag. Is there a reason for it?
Yes. The black durag I wear came up as a result of the COVID. Now, when the COVID hit us, I realized that a lot of businesses got challenged as a result of the pandemic. And so you realize most entrepreneurs started struggling with their businesses, including mine, of course. But then, in the entrepreneurial space, we're supposed to be each other's keepers. We need to motivate and encourage each other to be able to go through the hurdle. And so one of the symbolic ways I realized I can do to, encourage and motivate my fellow entrepreneurs was to solidarize with them. And one of the means of solidarizing with somebody is to be in black. And how can I be in black all the time? And I realized the durag was one of the means by which I can always be in black to solidarize with my fellow entrepreneurs. And two, it also motivates me to get me to realize that we are not in normal times. We have to do things abnormally, but rightfully, to be able to overcome the challenges we have during this period of time. And so anytime I find myself in my durag, it tells me that, look, you need to do something to make sure your business thrives.
So as a business,
do
you think that COVID has presented you with opportunities or challenges?
It has given me some opportunities and has given me challenges. Now, the opportunities I got out of the COVID was one, well, to allow me to rest. Because as an entrepreneur, I've been on the go almost 20 years, no day to rest. It's been continuous.
You journeyed through that 20 years.
Exactly. And so the lockdown, though hard as it was, it gave me some enough time to rest. That was one. And then two, it caused me to relook at my business model and to restructure it to meet the current trend of affairs and make it COVID-19 compliant. So I have to restructure my business by now specializing in my services and then niching the market even more. So what I call the close-ended entrepreneurial approach instead of the open-ended entrepreneurial approach. Now, close-ended because customers' attitude have changed towards what they need and want. And so you want to understand what customers need and be able to tailor your services to suit them. If you continue to operate in an open-ended entrepreneurial space where you think every product at all should sell, you might find yourself wanting. And so I have to now specialize in certain aspect of my business and target a particular niche market, which led me to have to reduce my staff strength.
Does that mean that you stop working with those of us that drive the Mazda and Picanto and other smaller?
Not at all. It only means that I have gotten a specialized service that can make your car look better than it used to be. And so once you buy into it, you get yourself, so you don't spend too much, but you get higher quality because customer service must come to play here. Now, the need and demand has reduced, and so service providers will be more. And so if you don't have a competitive edge, you might not be able to stay in business. So I have to add on to the values and to my quality of service to be able to keep the few customers I have and add more. So it's much to do with improving upon your services and enhancing your service delivery to customers.
So your business is located at Spentex.
Yes, please.
I have driven my car from North Kanishi to your location at Spentex before.
Yes.
People drive from various locations to bring their car to you. Why did I bring my car to you? Didn't I see other car wash
Detailing centers?
Why do people drive all the way to you?
Yes.
Special magical powers that attracts us from our locations to your end?
Yeah, the special magical powers is into quality of service, packaging of your service, excellence customer service, good delivery of your services, and making sure that you are up to date with knowledge in always having a competitive edge.
So to let my viewers appreciate, when I drive my car into your
business location,
what happens to my car? What service do you render to me on a typical day?
Okay, right. What we do at our place, at Sesil Ventures, is to give you the entire value chain of reconditioning of your car.
Are you different from the person who washes the car by the roadside?
Yes, we're different. Yes, we're different because with those who wash the car at the roadside, they limit their services to washing, cleaning, and getting your car neat for you to go on, to move on, okay? But we go the extra mile into giving you that detailed cleaning. Where, for instance, at the normal washing bay, they spend about an hour in washing your car, right? But at our end, we spend about 4 to 5 hours in making sure every aspect of your car is well detailed to give you that premium look. All right? We have a range of services to about almost 10 different categories of services in car cleaning and detailing. All right? So depending on the level.
Normal car cleaning that we can wake up in the morning and take our water and splash our cars and we are good. You have about 10.
Not at all. It will interest you to know that the detailing industry is a huge industry that have specialized services and professionals as such to be able to deliver those services. Now, the importance of that has got to do with the fact that when you're going to buy a new car, your interest gets into the beauty and outlook of the car. Now, the next thing you want to do is to get into the interior of the car to see how beautiful the interior looks. The third thing you want to look at is to open up the engine and see the engine capacity, how powerful the engine is and all that. But then at the end of the day, a time might come where you might want to resell that car to purchase another one. Now, you must remember that the next buyer of your car will behave just like you did when you went to the showroom or the car market to buy it. So you want to ensure that before you sell that car, the interior and exterior are equally in good state. Most often we say that mind the engine and don't mind the body.
So you are like a car care consultant, car care therapist. You do pedicure and manicure for vehicles.
Good. You can relate it into that direction, yes.
I want to understand why he has chosen vehicles in particular. Is there a reason why you've paid attention, first of all, to the interior of vehicles? Did you study this program as a profession in school, or you found yourself in it?
Good. It's one got to do with passion. Now, when I started my secondary education, for instance, I got to Form 2.
That's how we see.
Nifa Secondary. Okay, I got to Form 2, then I realized that my passion for automobiles was increasing.
What were you studying then?
We're doing the arts course program then, and so I realized engineering was of me. And so I prompted my dad about that, and he told me to just continue the streams. When I get to the university, I can do engineering in automobile, or mechanical engineering for that matter. But I told him, no, I think I would rather prefer to go to the technical school to offer automobile engineering to start with, because I want to understand the nitty-gritty of automobiles very well, which is a profession I really want to practice. You know, but the stigma associated with going to technical school came up. Okay, so he didn't want to allow me to do that. He insisted. Yeah, that stigma came. I'm going to talk about it along the line. But then I got to realize that I don't like to be society or systems to dictate to me what I want to do. I want to be able to do what I really want to do without a system telling me what to do. Interestingly, I discovered that very early in life. And so when that aspect of knowledge came up to me to want to pursue my technical education, which I suggested to my dad and he objected to it, I insisted, and fortunately my mom supported me into that. And so I had to truncate my secondary education at Form 2 and then get to the technical school. Now, and then interestingly,
What guided you to make such a decision? Because for, I suppose you probably be in early 18s or you were 18 around that time.
Yeah.
How did you become informed to make such a bold decision?
Now, it was as a result of the passion I have. I realized this was my passion. This is the area I feel I can do my best and deliver my best. And so if I'm being refused to exercise that ability, I don't know how my future will be like. So it guided me in my decision making. And so when I mentioned and tried to explain further to them on that, and they allowed me, it became very clear at the end of the day when I won a bronze medal from the City and Girls of London, where out of the best 25 students across the country in Ghana from the various technical institutions, I was the first among the best 25.
Guys, let's show some loud to me.
All right, and so by that, we got the Director General of City and Girls of London, then John Barnes, flying to Ghana to present a bronze medal award to me.
Which year?
That was in 87, 1987, yes. Yeah.
I started winning awards before you an award.
You know, so I was then a student of Whole Technical, now Whole Polytechnic. Yes, and so that was the school I was in. Now, I received that award. I didn't stop there. I pursued the course further to UST School of Mines, Takwa.
City and Girls Awards, what is it about? Which people do they give such?
Now, the City and Girls Examination Board, they have different examinations that they provide across the arts, crafts industry. So they have the mechanical engineering, they have the automobile, they have the carpentry and joinery, they have the painting, they have all the arts and crafts courses that they provide at the technical school. Previously, City and Girls was the examination body that was organizing examination for all these courses. And so I wrote the City and Girls examination. But now it is fully under Ghana Education Service. Apparently, it was in the year when City and Girls was handing over the examination, the full authority of the examination to Ghana Education Service. That was the very year I won that award. I closed the chapter with it. And so I pursued it further, like I said, to UST School of Mines to take up the advanced program in automobile engineering.
So all this while, you've been consistent in something automobile, something mechanical.
Exactly. I've been consistent. So it was after I graduated from that, I decided to take up a marketing program, my BS marketing program at GIMPA. Now, this was to demystify the myth in society that suggests that people who go to the technical schools have done that because they are not academically relevant.
Were you academically relevant?
It proves to you why I have to go to the university. And I came out successfully. All right? Now, I had my second class upper, graduated as a first degree holder in marketing.
That was in which year?
That's in 2012. All right? I also graduated successfully with my automobile engineering program and winning an award. So can that be termed as an academic deficient student? That is no. But society has given us that perception to feel that once you take up vocational and technical education, it's because you are probably an academic deficient student. That is why you are picking up a course like that.
Why do you think that notion has been there?
Well, it is because I feel how our educational system has been structured when we've taken credentials to outweigh all forms of knowledge. So once you have the highest credential in education, you are noted to be the best and an excellent person. Instead of looking at the knowledge base of students, their capabilities and abilities to deliver. Okay, but we tend to focus on academic credentials to mean a person is excellent to be able to perform in industry and in society. But unfortunately, that is not the case. It is about the innate ability of a person and the knowledge acquired and how that knowledge can be converted into profitable use and bringing out positive results in support of society. These are the caliber of people or human resource base we need to be able to develop an economy. But unfortunately, the type of educational system we have tend to give us the impression that if you have a PhD, you have doctorate, you have that higher academic credentials, then you are the best person in society. And you are the best person to be able to perform excellently in every industry and sphere you find yourselves in. And I want to suggest that is not the case. And I think we are wasting a lot of human resource base in our system that could be tapped in support of development of our nation and across the world. Yeah.
People who graduate from the university are not as excellent as the certificates given to them?
They are excellent, but I don't think academic credentials should be used to judge and validate somebody's ability to perform.
What should be used to judge somebody's ability to?
Assessment.
And isn't our examination a form of?
Good. Now, the assessment that is done culminates to add up to a 2-hour examination that you write to conclude that this is who you are. And I wonder if 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hour session can be used to assess a person's ability to perform for 4 years of his educational knowledge. Then just a short period of time is used to just judge and validate a person's credential and ability in life.
How many hours do you propose?
We don't need hours. We need assessment. The ability of the person to deliver. That is what I will stand for. All right? Some people have examination phobia. And so when they go into exam, no matter how excellent they are, they might not be able to write. They come out with bad grades, and you consider that person to be a failure in life. You are destroying human capabilities here. You are destroying human resources here.
Isn't that part of the whole setup of examination? It's like going to the Olympics and you get to the sites for Olympics, and because you see a huge crowd, you become timid. Isn't it all part of the play? Is that not part?
Well, the aspect of examination can solve a particular problem in the human life and in a system. Now, examination, I see it to be just a means of trying to reduce or siphon and control numbers that the system can take to be able to continue and further their education. But I don't want to see examination to mean that we are using it to judge the ability of people. So, for instance, if all persons who go through school pass out and they all have to go to the university, for instance, you can imagine the numbers that will be waiting behind. So examination has to be used to be able to filter the number of people who can qualify to go to the university. But it shouldn't dictate or determine the fate or the knowledge state of such persons.
So you think we've downplayed technical and vocational education for far too long?
Seriously, what do you need to succeed as a business person, and what do you need to develop? You cannot focus attention on only academic credentials or theoretical knowledge base to develop a country. So, for instance, education is not a means, it's just a means to an end. It is not an end in itself. So if we focus attention on just building theoretical knowledge base and we have only academicians in our system, who goes out there to repair the ceiling in the office? Who goes out there to repair the light in the office when it goes faulty? Who goes out there to do the artistic works that we need? Who fixes our computers for us? All right? So we can't focus attention on just academic credentials and successes to develop an economy. We need technical education. We need vocational education, okay, to build people who can innovate and create and be able to transform and bring solutions to basic things in society. Okay? So if you are that graduate who don't want to take up any skill, Now that COVID has come, people are laying off persons. So you are looking for people who are highly qualified, who will be working under less supervision to work. So if you have that credentials without a skill, where do you place yourself? Things are changing, and we have to rise up to the situation to realize that innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship, it's what can drive and strive. And so no matter who you are with your academic credentials, you need some level of creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial knowledge to be able to even convert that knowledge you've acquired from school academically to transmit into industry. Right.
My dad is a plumber.
Good.
He apprenticed to learn that plumbing.
Right.
Are you supposing that he was supposed to go to school to learn that, although he went to school later to further it? Yeah, but that is in more recent time because he has been an expert at his craft already by apprenticeship.
Now, you can learn a trade by just going through apprenticeship. You can equally learn a trade by going through academics. Now, the one who went through the academic, who had enough academic education, okay, and then learn a trade, have an advantage of research, being able to understand theoretical interpretations better, all right? But that does not suppose that he is better than somebody who just learned it through the apprentice stage.
Are you making money from washing cars? I'll come back to this subject.
Yes, I'm making money that will survive me, all right? And I've never regretted because I've been in the industry for 20 years. And it is that industry that has made me who I am today, all right? And so no industry should be downplayed and looked down upon. It is how you can convert the knowledge you acquire from school into that industry that does not mean much to you, to turn it around to become that class of an industry. That is what will survive you. And so you need the academic knowledge to be converted into an action, an activity to transform. So I always say that we should learn to be transformist, not conformist. So if you learn, you have gone through the academics, and you cannot transform a system to mean anything to solve a problem, what would you have then achieved? So that academic knowledge should be able to transform a standard item into another system. Then you have seen a change. But if you have to just learn, go into an institution, and all you do is to follow a standard to solve problem, who creates and innovate new standards for you to solve?
So do you think there's a reason for the stigma that people who venture into such professions are not academically smart or intelligent? Do you think there's a reason for that stigma?
Yeah, the stigma came about as a result of how our educational system has been structured and how society perceives education.
Okay, so don't you think, for instance, in such professions, are you emphasizing on handicrafts, craftswork alone?
I'm emphasizing on importance on both, because we need the academicians and we need the technical people, all right? But then, how much attention is being paid to the technical and vocational education?
So, my question is, somebody can learn how to sew probably in 6 months. If somebody comes to apprentice under you, I don't know how long they will take. Somebody may apprentice for to be a barber, to be a hairdresser, to be a plumber for relatively shorter period than doing a 4-year program or a 7-year program at a tertiary institution. Don't you think because the demands vary per industry or per institution in terms of going to do, let's say, a program at mainstream university for 4 years, another at, let's say, for 7 years. But in this case, you can learn for 6 months, you can learn for a year, and sometimes 2 years, depending on what you are learning, and you are polished. Don't you think because the demands vary, it makes us want to pay the doctor more than the plumber?
Why should someone learn sewing for 3 months?
Why should someone learn sewing for 3 months? Hold it there for me, sir. It's been interesting and exciting, very engaging on the Role Model Dialogue. We have to take this break. We'll be right back. This is a role model dialogue exclusively on Truth TV. My guest is Mr. Emmanuel Awumee, and we've been talking about the subject of technical and vocational education. And I like his direction, trying to make us understand that it is in no least to be compared to academic education. And he was responding to an earlier question on that I asked on demands that is placed on, let's say, somebody learning medicine and somebody learning, let's say, hairdressing or sewing. So, Mr. Awumee, please take that for me.
Good. I did ask the question, why should we have just about 3 months study in hairdressing or sewing and stop it there and think the person is ready for business? If you take time to go into dressmaking, if you take time to go into even shoemaking, you realize that it's a whole course on its own that can take some years to complete.
You mean the cobbler that does my shoe?
The cobbler that does your shoe, good. You see excellently how you described it. A cobbler. You've downplayed it.
Why?
Because you probably don't respect that industry.
But I do. That industry, they are cobblers. They repair our shoes.
Good. Now, when you are making your submission, you realize that you said doctors are taking about 7 years to have their course done, as compared to somebody who would have learned a trade for 3 months or 6 months. But what I want to reiterate is that if we place that value and importance on some of these craft works, you will get to realize that there are courses in these craft works that can take even sometimes 2, 3, or 4 years to do, to master them. So for instance, fashion designing. When you take time and study what goes into fashion making, you'll be amazed. When you want to even take those who do hairdressing, like what FC Perfumery is doing, for instance, there are so much courses that they understudy to come up to become fashion expert.
So Gempa, for instance, what did you study?
I studied marketing.
Marketing at Gempa.
At
How
Gempa.
does that help you as a technical person?
Good. As a technical person, I've set up a business. Now, how do I run my business? I need to be able to market my business. I need to be able to manage my business because I am an entrepreneur. And so I need to have advanced knowledge in how to manage the business and sustain it. Not just manage a business and make money and it collapses. So I need more knowledge in management. There is this thing I talk about where I say that having a product doesn't mean you have a business. Or having knowledge doesn't mean you are wealthy. You need to place that knowledge or product on a platform to run. And that platform is what will sustain your business. Then you are now talking about you are in business. And in that on that platform, you have administration, you have finance, you have marketing, all come into play. So if you don't have some basic knowledge in this space, how do you sustain your business? You can only initiate your business, but it will struggle to be sustained. Okay? So that is where academic knowledge comes to support industry. Okay, and that is why
I think the two should work together.
the two definitely needs to work together. You can't do one and leave other. So for instance, we talk about car wash. Car wash have been seen just to be for probably school dropouts. But there's a course of study that when you study, it shouldn't be car wash, it should be car care. And a car care program can be instituted in our technical schools that can train people into caring for cars to the optimum. And that can take about 2 to 3 years of study.
Are your staff not school dropouts?
They are school dropouts. And I tuition them. Okay, I groom them because they probably don't have the means and ability to finance themselves to go through school. And I don't think they should remain where they are. And so I work on them psychologically to feel important, to know that the job they are doing, I have schooled through it, and it's of so much value. Okay? How many technical schools, for instance, are offering a program in car care? How many technical schools are offering a program in shoemaking? How many technical schools are offering a program in dressmaking? There are some. And you realize that those who are doing, for instance, dressmaking, it's not just 1 year. 2, 3 years.
I think if you pay attention to, let's say, an area like shoemaking, if I could say cobbling, and other industries, so my good friend like Tony, Horseman Shoes, they could expand what they do and reach out to quite
Trust me.
a number of...
That is how you can create job opportunities. Tell me going to apply for a job and sitting in that office, how many people you can employ as an academic? And I being an entrepreneur, going through vocational technical school, creating a job. I have trained over 300 staff, workers across the period of time, some of who have passed on and have opened their own businesses and employing more. So if I remain an academic and remained as a banker, for instance, in the office, how many people would have been able to empower? Are you getting it? So entrepreneurs need to be given a very serious support and attention to help create more jobs than just we looking at a situation where we graduate and we are looking to be employed. So who created a job for you to be employed?
So who creates a job for you to be employed? This is still the Role Model Dialogue on Truth TV. We are in the life and business of Mr. Emmanuel Awumee, who is the CEO for Sesil Ventures, and we've been sharing in perspective the story of his journey. He's touched on why he thinks technical and vocational education should be quite critical, and we are venturing a bit more closer in his entrepreneurial journey now. So the last 20 years, 2 decades of business, how has it been for you?
It's been rocky. It's been challenging. But the good thing is that I never look at failure to mean a setback.
Where was your rock?
My rock came up at the 8th year of my business, when my business has to crash as a result of a verbal agreement I went into with a business person to rent his space to expand my 5th branch.
Your 5th branch?
My 5th branch
of
the same car detailing business. Now, I went into...
You had 5 branches across?
I had 5 branches in Accra.
In Accra?
Yes. That was in around 2008. So, having gone into this agreement verbally, we agreed for me to pay 300 Ghana cedis a month for 2 years.
That was in which year again?
2008.
You were paying 300 cedis a month?
A month for 2 years. Now, having done that, and we agreed on the space to set up, I then went to the bank to take a bank facility and supported it with my internally generated funds to invest in setting up the property. I invested over 40,000 Ghana cedis then.
Then you invested over 40,000?
40,000 Ghana cedis into setting up. Now, just a little over a year in operation, my landlord invited me to his office for us to now document the agreement. I went and I was handed over a document. And in the document,
you wanted to
formalize the verbal discussion we had. So when the document was handed over to me, I was looking forward to see the 300 Ghana cedis per month for 2 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what I saw was $500 for 2 years.
Ooh.
Yes.
At that time, how long had you worked on the...
Just a little over a year on the property.
And you were paying 300 earlier. You had started
I was supposed... No, because he was waiting for us to document it, then I paid the lump sum.
So you had been on the space for over a year, you had not paid anything?
I had not paid anything, but then I had budgeted for the 300 Ghana cedis for the 2 years. $500, no more cedis for 2 years. That rocked me up. I tried to explain to him that was not what we agreed upon, but he insisted that was what he was going to take. I had already put my investment into place. He couldn't tell me why. All he could tell me was that was the least he could take for renting out his property. But then I made him realize that we had agreed on 300 Ghana cedis. That was why he gave me the permit to start operating on his property. And that was what I structured and planned to even take up a loan from the bank. And I made my projections based on the 300 Ghana cedis. So for giving me $500 to pay for 2 years now, I don't know how I'm even going to raise the balance to pay him. Because if that was the initial arrangement, I wouldn't have even gone into it because it was way beyond my budgetary status. So now he was going by that written agreement. Exactly. So the money I had for the 300 Ghana cedis for the 2 years was paid, but it was far below the expected amount he was expecting. So he asked me and gave me 3 months to pay the balance, or I fold up on the property. All right, so
you think you didn't do due diligence?
Exactly. So I didn't do due diligence by committing my investment into a business that did not have documentation to start with.
How did this affect your business, your 5 branches?
Good. Now, what happened was it eroded every account I had. Because every money I had to push it to try to cushion up the difference so that he can allow me space to operate for some time and pay the balance. But he gave me a limit of 3 months. So because of that, all money I had went to him, and I had no money to be able to manage the others, and so I had to close all the branches down.
So in the next 3 months, you paid to still be on the space?
No, in the next 3 months, all that I gave him couldn't afford to pay beyond the 3 months.
Ooh.
You understand? To make up for the 2 years. So all I had to do was to close down.
And you closed down and you started operating from where?
Now, I closed down all four branches, leaving one. The current location I'm operating on the Spintex Road, within the Glory Oil filling station.
Hard location.
You know, and so that was my first bad hit in entrepreneurship that really got me into bankruptcy for 4 years. I had to struggle for 4 years trying to resurface and put myself together.
Wow.
And then I have come this far in 8 years after my bankruptcy.
The journey of entrepreneurship can be promising, but as you can see, there are obvious challenges that you will not necessarily be able to overcome if you don't educate yourself well and get the right form of coaching, guidance, and do necessary due diligence so you don't go into verbal agreements and the contract is changed after a while. So, Mr. Awumee, for you, for business owners, young persons that have started business and startup, what kind of guidance or information are you providing for them now?
Okay.
So that don't repeat the blunders that you have.
Good. As a result of my over 20 years experience within the entrepreneurial space, I have gone through the good sides of entrepreneurship. I have also experienced the bad and worst side of entrepreneurship, and I felt the accumulated knowledge should not be left to me alone. And so I was looking at a means of being able to impact that knowledge to the next generation of youth and startup entrepreneurs, as well as upstart entrepreneurs. So I decided to establish an NGO called the Sesil Entrepreneurial Coffee Session, which is supposed to be a practically oriented entrepreneurial discourse sessions where we share ideas and also try to help people navigate and overcome challenges they encounter within the entrepreneurial space. Because call it, name it, I've faced it when it comes to the various challenges that entrepreneurs will go through. And so
with your coffee sessions, what have you done so far? What do you do? Do you
good.
sit to have tea or coffee?
Yes, so what it is there are of 2 major sessions. So one of the sessions is organizing an informal session with invited peers, guests, and other interested persons. We sit over coffee, have a chat, you bring your challenges, another person bring their challenges. We keep sharing ideas and solving people's challenges practically.
How does one become a part? Is there a website? Is there an email? Is there a contact a young business can get in touch to reach you?
Good. So in order to make it even more public, what I've done is I've set up a page on social media, okay, called the Sesil Entrepreneurial Coffee Session.
Sesil Entrepreneurial
Coffee Session. So at Coffee Session, you link up to the page, and there are loads of information I always offload on there.
So the Facebook page is Sesil
Entrepreneurial Coffee Session.
We'll round up in the next few minutes, but before then, looking at the journey that you have taken so far, which persons do you think has served as mentors or role models for you?
My dad.
Your dad, okay. Your dad that didn't want you to pursue the technical.
Exactly. My dad has been my utmost role model,
okay.
who have really engineered and guided me into life and business until I met Professor Robert Ebo Henson, University of Ghana Business School.
Okay.
He actually identified my public speaking ability. And if I'm here on this platform speaking, I owe that strongly to Professor Robert Ebo Henson. He has been my role model as well.
We need to have you on the show again, Mr. Emmanuel Awumee, and with how you are mentioning Mr. Ebo Henson,
Professor Ebo Henson.
We do well to get both of you here to share their story into much more detailed perspective. You've been watching the Role Model Dialogue on Truth TV, and our guest has been the CEO for Sesil Ventures. He's gone through a lot in business, and he has a lot to share, and I'm excited that he started a Sesil Entrepreneur Coffee Session impacting and grooming young businesses so they don't repeat the blunders that he went through. He went into a verbal agreement with his landlord for the space of his business, and the contract was changed. Could you believe it? He was to pay 300 cedis, and in less than a year, it was changed from 300 cedis to 550 USD. You don't want to find
$500. Yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
You don't want to find yourself in such a challenge. It's been a great and exciting moment on the Role Model Dialogue. See you same time next week.